Today I'm going to talk about the Maxpedition Zafar small internal frame backpack. Its size is 28 liters, I believe. Might be 32, I'm blanking. But essentially I'm going to just go through all the features and sort of what I think about them just from one side to the other. So first, there's 4 release buckles for that are compression straps on the sides, which make for very handy things for being able to attach things like trekking poles, or if you've got some long object in here that you want to be able to make sure stays in there, just able to hold that. You can attach, you can do everything that you can with compression straps for holding extra stuff and carrying things that don't need to go in the backpack, or for giving yourself extra space. In addition to those compression straps, there are these 2 large ones in the bottom, which are sized well enough to handle something like a tent or sleeping roll or whatever other things that you might end up needing to put into here. The bottom of the backpack is sort of a Hypalon, I believe it's Hypalon material, sort of like rubberized plastic, flexible, rubberized canvas, it feels like, rubberized plasticized canvas. And on the front right here is 5x5 rows and columns of MOLLE webbing for attaching a variety of pouches and those types of equipment. Now the pouches that I like to put on here the most, and this is also partially due to just what I have, are this one here and this one up here. Now let me write that up. I sort of wish that the webbing here was 6 columns wide, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that way you'd be able to fit 2 pouches like this on here side by side, with them attached with two clips. Ditto with these. You'd be able to attach 2. This would be a bit tighter, but still be able to work better. And in addition to that, moving around the outside of the bag, there are bottle holders that are made for carrying a Nalgene or 40-ounce clean canteen comfortably. And as you can see, this slips in here comfortably, plenty of space, and there's a draw cord for being able to tighten this all up if you so wish or need. And it also works well if you've got something else in there, like you shove a sweater or some kind of vest or whatnot in there. And there's the same one on both sides. And nicely enough, this, when you put put bottle in here, it actually doesn't invade the space of the backpack. Essentially, this goes out instead of going inward. Which means you don't have to choose between your water bottle or your internal space. On the back side, just looking at this, we have cancel. Netflix was listening to me. We have the waist belt, which attaches in here using Velcro. I could take this out to just pull the whole thing out and show you, but that's a pain, and you don't need to see that I can do it to know that it's true. In here, there are on both sides of the waist belt hip pockets. These are very handy. They can hold a variety of, like a fair amount of stuff, like cell phone quite easily. This is a smaller one, but larger models will work as well. You put a number of things in here, like, if you've got some gloves that you want to be taking on and off during the course of the day, or like a UV buff that you just like to be able to change in and out of for your comfort. You can just shove those in there and tuck, and boom, plenty of space. So you have a fair amount of room on those. Now the padding on the belt is sort of a standard, like it's a aerated foam padding. And on this section and these 2 sections of the backpack, it's a sort of honeycombed breathable foam padding with a breathable mesh over the outside of it. You might be able to see the sort of honeycombing of it a little bit. And between these pads and between this and the lumbar, there's a bit of a breathing channel. Can't say if I've noticed that that's really made a big difference, but I've never felt like the backpack makes me super hot compared to just the rest of me. So I suppose it's a vote of confidence for that. For the backpack straps, this is how they attach, using a very nice, tough attachment mechanism that, after several years of use, have not had problems yet. And then it attaches up here, cross-stitching box, same kind of thing, with a daisy chaining pattern going up the strap. A little loop in here for attaching, I'm sure, something that Maxpedition has in mind specifically for going on the strap. There's a D-ring right here that's handy for attaching things as you wish, you know, flashlights, whatnot. And then up here there's another little strap which sort of works best as a retention strap for this little guy, and that goes to the closeness torsioner. There's a term for this, I forget, but whatever, you know what I mean. To pull the backpack tighter to you or looser to you. I generally prefer to have it tighter to me, so these have their stuff pulled in tightly pretty well. And so this just helps with strap management nicely. And then there's the chest strap. And there's a stretch cord, fabric right here for being able to have it expand and contract to adjust to your chest and move with you. There's a little bit of loop of material in order to sort of stop it from overstretching. And also this worked well for holding your Camelback bladder bike valve. Fortunately, since it's only on one side, you sort of have to route it in certain ways. Unless, of course, you feel really motivated, because you can detach the chest straps and switch them, or move them up and down the daisy chain if your anatomy requires a different space. So you'd move it from here, up to here, or up to here, or down if you needed any of those directions. In the same kind of way, you could reverse this from being attached to this side, being attached over here. So you've got versatility there. And I forgot another thing, is that there are hidden compartments right here behind the, get this straight by the way, behind the water bottle holder, which, funny enough, can fit one. These do invade the internal space of the bag though, so if you're planning on using those hidden compartments for a lot of stuff, be aware of that. And you have the same thing on this side. And I've got a water, I keep a dry cover for the bag in here just because it's wise to do so to me. Now from there, we have the Velcro patch attachment points right here, which you can fit two sort of small to mid-size patches on here. Now, unfortunately, part of the sort of issue of this is because of the Maxpedition logo non-Velcro-y part right here. They don't attach really quite as well as you would hope, considering how much room there actually looks to be there. I've had patches taken off by airport machinery before and just been in too much of a hurry to stop and try to get them back. So you're welcome, TSA. So on top we have the carrying strap, which is nice and robust, also held on by these box stitching. And we have the 3 zippers on the top here. First one is for this skinny compartment. Second one is for the sunglasses case. And third one is for the main compartment. And I'm just going to go through them from outside in. So, skinny compartment / admin compartment, as you wish, is right here. There's this zippered mesh pouch, which could store a fair bit of little stuff. There's these two open top mesh pouches right here that have a fair amount of space. And then there's a fair amount of room underneath for quite a bit of stuff. But this overall is quite nice. And what I would say I would prefer is having, if this was more, had a greater admin organization kind of style to it, where you actually had little loops for different items and little pouches for different places, instead of just sort of big dump pouches, at least for this area. Because I've had experience with that before, and it's a nice thing. Overall, I'd still choose this bag over the bags that I've had that with before because it's just better otherwise. This little middle zipper area is a sunglasses pouch. It's felt lined on the inside and nicely soft, and easily accessible in the middle between these two. And from there, we go to the main compartment. Now the main compartment, you do have to unbuckle these side buckles here in order to get it open. Now, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the bag with that feature being that way is better than if they try to ramshackle some way of making it work otherwise. What I would say would be better is if they had this zipper run down further so that you could have this be more of a clamshell opening so you could just get to everything at once. Because especially when you've got stuff in here in the outer admin pouch area and this is sort of full, when you're getting to the top of everything being stuffed in here, it can be hard to get to things that are right here, and it can be hard just to get to things in the bottom as well. But in any case, the storage in here is a little mesh zipper pouch where I've just got some rope and a space blanket stuffed in here just in case. And in the back side is the zipper for the plastic polyethylene sheet that's the support of the bag, and the metal support rod that goes through the back of the bag to help hold everything in place. I can take both of these out. I don't want to because it's a pain to put everything back in. So just believe me, you can do it. Well, it's a pain just to do it while on camera and talking to you and all that. So in addition to that, this little Velcro-y space is the water bladder holder. So you can just slip your water bladder right in here, and the start in the area actually sort of goes inward, sort of in a little V kind of shape as it goes down, and to help hold everything in place and keep it from jostling too much. And then in there you can route your port, you can route your hose through this side, through this little port right here, or through, it's smoother if I can get it quick, this side right over here. So we have both of those sides able to provide the water opening for your holders. Now, having gone through all these zippers on the outside, there's actually sort of an interesting little feature that they have on the bag, which I believe they call their security mechanism for making sure the zippers don't fall open or somebody doesn't try to get in without at least some kind of slowdown. And that's this little buckle right here. I mean, it snaps. And so you can run them through both sets of zippers and then just snap it shut. And everything's just more difficult in order to get off. I've not really been in situations much where I've concerned myself with that. But what I've used this for mostly is for holding my hat. So, you know, you go from outdoors to indoors or from sunny area to shaded area and you want to take off your hat. Well, I just can hang it from there and it works great. just an extra note that I didn't mention with these compression straps before is how much they let you cinch down this bag from being, you know, a fairly bulky, large object to something much more compact, much more sleek, and much more able to sort of, you know, navigate tighter spaces like caves or rock screes, or most of all, commutes through transit systems. And so I can make this thing down to this size, which, at least to me, is pretty good for significant shrinkage, that as far as being able to make this compact. Now there was something else I wanted to make sure to mention. Oh, so another thing that you might be noticing on this bag as we've been going along is the sort of flaps that are on the outside of these zippers. Now these are really nice because they help increase the waterproofness of the bag. So they help cover up the zippers, and they sort of collapse over on their own between zipping. It can make a little bit more of a sticking when zipping and unzipping sometimes, but you know what, it's not really something you notice very much, and everything moves smoothly enough as is with that. And let's see. Oh, and additionally, one thing that I think would have been an improvement on this Maxpedition is if they had had something sort of like this be a standard piece on the bag. This is just a cut up piece of inner tube that I used to help act as a strap minder. Now what they could do is have something like a Velcro strap minder be standard, because using just this as an ad hoc piece of equipment means that it falls off pretty frequently. And I have to pick them up and put them back in my bag and remember to be not too lazy to put them on again later. And so, considering the amount of straps on here, it's just nice to be able to manage that a bit better. And yeah, so I'd say for this bag, the main improvements that you'd probably want to be that extra row of webbing, the admin area, the the strap minders, and the I had it a second ago. Oh, and the 3/4 or full zip opening for the main pouch, so that you can just clamshell the whole thing open. But otherwise, this is my everyday when I need a big bag with lots of stuff kind of bag, and I've been enjoying it for several years, and it's kept working and working well. So if you end up finding this, especially for not full price online, I would say it's worthwhile to get. So the Maxpedition Zafar is the bag once again, and thanks for your time, and have a good one.